Welcome back to Rocket Talk. It is now episode 49, which means that we've been doing this for quite a long time now, guys. But hooray!
I'm sick of you guys already.
Yeah, Too long. I was sick of you guys when we did episode 0. So.
Ooh,
God!
I was already planning on my own spin-off, and that didn't work out. That shows you how checked out I am.
We haven't mentioned the show too. We can do that real fast. We do a bev check. So, Moving in Stereo will be on a brief hiatus, just with everything, with how busy all the stuff is with jobs and the pandemic. Connor, it will just be focusing with us on Rocket Talk, but that doesn't mean the show's dead. So, Connor, I know that you were trying to do Moving in Stereo so you could leave Johnny and I.
True.
Yeah. You're stuck with us. No, but
damn it.
So just wait a little bit longer. It just needed more time in the oven. But hopefully once things kind of settle down, we can have that back. But now on to a quick bev check. Johnny, I know that you only have like 2 beverages in your apartment. So which one are you sipping on today?
Well, yeah, I'm actually back at my apartment for the first time in like 5 months. So I had like nothing really ready except a few extra packages of whatever you call them, pouches of Capri Sun. So I'm drinking that, and I also had the option of mixing it with just vodka because that's also left in my fridge, and Mad Dog.
Yeah, you alcoholic.
I know. So yeah, all I have is Capri Sun or just alcohol. And
what flavor of Capri Sun are we drinking today?
This right here is fruit punch. I also have berry flavor left in the fridge. But yeah, I'll probably this is just fruit punch for right now because I am 7 years old.
Nice.
And for those who don't know Johnny, he actually doesn't drink a lot, even though his options make it seem like he does.
Even though 2/3 of his options today for a beverage were alcohol, it's because he doesn't drink much. So when he left his apartment for a bit, everything that he drank is now gone. Like
I'm a big milk drinker, but I knew I was going to leave for months at a time, and I did not want to come back to my apartment with 5-month-old milk.
That's a smart idea. I mean, that'd be like yogurt at that point.
Yeah. Yummy. It comes in chunky version.
Ron, what about you? Do you got a beverage?
No, I'm filled with the spirit.
Oh, there you go. What's spirit? Vodka?
the spirit.
I can run some over to you if you want.
I was listening to Rush this week, so the spirit of radio.
Oh, there you go. So, I am drinking a Mountain Dew Major Melon. It is the new Mountain Dew flavor, which I'm pretty sure this is the first like permanent new flavor since like Whiteout, because they'll have like the because Pitch Black became a permanent flavor when it beat Baja Blast in that vote. And like they'll have some regional flavors, like Speedway has their own couple flavors and all that. But I'm pretty sure this is the first regular, normal Mountain Dew new flavor where it's not just like a zero sugar version in like 10 years. So it's pretty tasty. It's dew charged with watermelon. It has a nice little militarized watermelon man on the label. But
just from the look of it, which all of our listeners would agree looks great, it looks like it would taste like a Jolly Rancher.
That's what I say. It tastes like a watermelon Jolly Rancher. It's pretty tasty. For some reason, watermelon has been kind of the hot flavor for companies recently because that was the summer flavor for Red Bull, and Monster also put one out. Even though the summer Red Bull came out in like March, and the Red Bull and the Monster one came out in like October, but yeah, it's crazy because this is the first one that I can think of that is a national flavor. Like I said, I guess Frost Blast, that one that's or Frostbite, the one that's at Walmart, is exclusive. But
right, I forgot about that one.
But this is the one that you can get everywhere. That's not that's not a like limited seasonal flavor or a store exclusive. Since, like I said, I'm pretty sure the last time we had that was when Whiteout first came out in 2010. So, very tasty. So, 2 minutes, no like official nerd news now this week, more just a couple things that we're interested in that we're kind of keeping our eyes on. The first is the Snyder Cut has a official release date now, so we can finally watch the 4-hour Justice League movie and see if it redeemed itself from the original. So, Johnny, I know you as the residential DC fan. Are you already counting down the days?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I know that the BVS Extended Edition, the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, in theatrical version was just not good. It was just so bad. But then they released later on an extended edition that added like another hour of content, and that hour of content was exactly what they needed to make it a very, very good movie. And it's just like night and day, the difference between the two. So now with this movie Justice League getting reshoots and additional stuff, I'm hoping that this is going to be the same or even better better version of Justice League, just like BVS got.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it will. I definitely, I'm confident that it's going to be the version that people are going to go to, from now on. Like if you ever want to rewatch all the DC movies, this is going to be the one that you plug in instead of the original Justice League.
Yeah, so if you are excited for it, it does drop on HBO Max on March 18th. So after you enjoy yourself some nice Guinness on St. Paddy's Day, go ahead and boot up the Snyder Cut version of Justice League on HBO Max. The official title, though, is Zack Snyder's Justice League. So hopefully this will be better. I still haven't seen it. The only ones, like I said, I've seen is both Wonder Woman's now. So. And I've seen parts of BVS at a birthday party for Johnny, but everyone was just kind of talking and just hanging out and drinking, and so there was not a whole lot that I remember of the movie. I
don't remember said birthday party, but it sounds like something I would do.
It was at
I remember that birthday party, and nobody was paying attention to the movie.
Yeah, it was at Chelsea's apartments.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right.
So, but that's about all I remember. I remember drinking Barry Weiss, Line and Kugels, and that's about it. So,
I remember having Taco Bell.
Oh,
I don't. I remember so little about that. But.
Well, that's because you were partying so hard. That when you can't remember your birthday, you had a good time.
Yeah, I was probably drinking the vodka that I still have in my fridge 4 years later.
That's probably true. But and then on top of that too, I know Johnny's excited because there is a rumor of a new Mario and Rabbids title as well. So Johnny, why don't you tell us about what this little birdie on the internet is saying?
Well, yeah, the original game came out in 2017, the same year that the Switch released, and a lot of people, myself included, were so surprised that it was better than we expect. Embarrassed to get this game because I was like, it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad. And it is to this day one of the best games on the Switch you can get. It's nothing like a Mario game, it's nothing like a Rabbids game, but it's its own thing now. And so a lot of people have been asking for a sequel. It got extended DLC involving Donkey Kong, and I've been wanting an extra game for a while. And a few days ago, the Twitter for Rabbids changed from Rabbids Official to Mario Rabbids. And the game came out 4 years ago, so it's a little weird that they would do this now unless they had something planned for the future, for the near future. And as soon as all the speculation came about, like immediately, they changed it back to Rabbids Official. So it seems like somebody might have accidentally done this too early, and I'm guessing somebody got fired. But yeah, there's a lot of speculation out there about maybe there's going to be a sequel to the game, and I would imagine it'll probably get announced at E3 or sooner.
Oh, you mean the only Mario game that is ever on sale, because it's an Ubisoft game technically, so therefore it can go on sale. That game is seriously, like, that game will be like $20 all the time, and then it'll be like, oh hey, here's a discount for Mario Odyssey. Instead of $60, it's $55. It's like, oh, yeah. Thank you, Nintendo, for discounting your almost 4-year-old game for us $5.
And I would say that because it's like you said, not a Mario game, it's an Ubisoft game, and it's discounted so low, it is so beyond worth it. Like, if I didn't already have it, I would be buying the crap out of this because I know how good it is. I think it sold originally for $60. I'm almost certain that it did. So for it to sell at only $20, I'm like, if you haven't bought it yet, don't waste any more time, because for it to be such a good game on like such a good sale, like just go get it, because I could not
I'll vouch for
recommend
that, because you and I played that together. You played the majority of the game without me, but I remember when we were living together, you got that. That game should not work as well as it does, because that game should have been a heaping pile of garbage, but it ended up being so delightful, such a pleasant time, that I was just like, I will agree that it is absolutely worth it, especially at a discounted price.
Well, yeah, number two, not everyone is Nintendo, and so like every good like Sony exclusive and Xbox exclusive after a couple years in the market is super cheap. You can go get The Last of Us for $20. The Last of Us 2 pretty soon will be $20. You can get just because they Sony and Microsoft, after a bit, they realize, hey, okay, like these games are still selling, but production's kind of slowed down. We can market as a greatest hits thing, discount it, still going to sell, and so yeah, you can. It's a lot easier to, like, for you, if you get a PS5 soon, it's easier for you to go in and get caught up on your backlog of some big PlayStation games, because you can get a lot of them for 20 or less. Where someone like me who bought a Switch a couple years in, okay, I have the backlog of Zelda and Mario and this and that. It's a lot harder, because it's like, oh crap, I have to drop $60 on Odyssey and Breath of the Wild and Donkey Kong, and it's like, oh, I gotta wait till they are on sale, or I get them as gifts and stuff like that. But that'll be fun. Hopefully that does come out. If it does, then I'm sure Johnny will have a nice blast off or blow up on it.
Absolutely.
Hey, speaking of blast off or blow ups, we can do that as well. So we're going to do a blast off or blow up on the Balan Wonderworld demo. So Connor's side does not sound too good with his experience, looks like. But for those who do not know, Balan, or I forgot to look up
Balan.
Balan.
I've been saying Balan.
Yeah. It's the new Yuji Naka game. So Yuji Naka was the original lead programmer of Sonic, and the former head of Sonic Team. And so it's his new game after he joined Square Enix, and it's his first. This is his first game that he is a director on in quite some time, because after he left midway through Sonic 06's development, he's just kind of been more of a producer of things. But it's his new game, and there's a demo out for it, and it is not that good. So it is a 3D action platformer that very much has a lot of inspiration. You can tell from Nights into Dreams, one of his previous non-Sonic games. There's some Billy Hatcher art direction that's in it as well, but it is not a good game, I would say. Connor, I think you agree with that too. I know, Johnny, did you get time to play it?
No, I haven't. I got to see a lot of gameplay online and reviews of it, of the demo, but no, I haven't played it myself yet.
Yeah,
I envy you right now. I wish I... Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, I went in, I was I didn't have super high expectations, but I went in with at least some, because it's Billy Hatcher and Knights and Sonic. Those are like he's made some good games. Even if a game like Billy Hatcher is one of his more lesser titles compared to some of his Sonic games, that's still a solid game. It's just that it came out at a time when platformers still hadn't figured out how to use a good camera, and that was one of its issues. But yeah, this, I don't know, it just felt so hollow, and I didn't feel like there was a whole reason for this game to be the way it was. It just felt super generic.
Agreed. That's actually, I think, the number one most glaring thing. That's the elephant in the room, is that this game is not doing anything that we haven't already seen. And I had messaged you guys the other day, this game offers nothing that Mario hasn't already done better at some points. Like when she turns into that plant creature, he or she, I chose a female character, but you can turn into a plant that extends the body up and then can jump from there. I remember Mario Odyssey had that was the last game I remember doing that, and they did it better. The mechanics worked a little bit better, and so it's just
tornado spin like you have in Crash. Yeah, exactly. The other one, what's funny is the one thing I would give the game credit for is the CGI cutscenes. Those things are Pixar level beautiful. They have incredible lighting, great animation. Like, while I may not like the animation style for the humans, like, the human models are very well detailed. It looks great. And then you play the game, and then it feels like you're playing like a PS2 game that got a HD remaster. Like,
that was so jarring to me. Like, the level, it's the amount of steps it takes down for the actual game.
Yeah, and I played mine. I played the PS5 demo, so I was playing like one of the better versions you could play. And still the graphics, like, it looked better than the Switch gameplay that I watched when Nintendo Life gave their preview of it, because like that one had a lot of bad pop in and low res textures. But on the PS5, it still looked like they took a game from 2003, up-res the textures a little bit, and then slapped it on there. The other thing I didn't like either was the controls were so bare bones. So I played on PS5. All of the face buttons, X, circle, triangle, square, and R2 or L2, can't remember one of the triggers, did the exact same thing. So if you were playing as just the regular human, you would press X, you would jump. You'd press circle, you would jump. You'd press triangle, you would jump. Like, I get that they wanted to have a very simplistic controls, but why even have it programmed for all the buttons? Like, at that point, it's like you only have to use 2 buttons in the game. You have to use whatever button you want to use for your jump / attack, and then whatever button you want to use to switch your costumes. And I was not impressed, especially even with some more I would say like generic platformers that we've played in the past. Like Johnny's recommendation of Super Lucky's Tale earlier in the year, like that was not a groundbreaking, anything new platformer either, but that one was still presented and played well enough that it's like, I've played this before, but I still enjoy it. Where Wonderworld, I play it, I'm just like, this just feels like a sluggish attempt at someone making a quick, easy platformer. Like, you could have said this was made in that Dreams game that I had you guys look at last year, and been like, oh, okay, cool, good for them. Like, but having a big name in the gaming industry behind it and having a big studio behind like Square Enix, it was pretty disappointing. It was. And what was the name of the creature, the fun character that pushed them into the world? Was that Balan? Balan? I can't remember exactly what the name is, but yeah. During the game, you had to do these things where he's flying through the air and you punch meteors or whatever it was, Balan's bout or something like that. Is that what that's called? And you have what the hell was that for? What was the point of it? Dude, I couldn't tell you either. I did it, and then I don't know, man. It just seems like this game has just like a bunch of ideas of Sonic and Knights and Mario, and they're trying to throw it together. I guess it'll just get you more collectibles, because there's the different like costumes you put on, and then I guess there are different versions of said costumes that you can also unlock as you play more. I don't know. And the other weird one too is the little Tims or the little like not Kirby things that like looked like Kirby. Yeah. Maybe if you haven't played a platformer in a very long time, maybe you might like this, but this was not a good experience. This was such a snooze. It just was such a bore. Definitely a blow up. Yeah, Johnny. If you still want to experience it, maybe go ahead and do it. But also, I would give it a blow up. Watch the cutscenes online and watch the humans and the creatures do weird dances when you beat bosses. You'd be like, what is going on? But watch. Yeah, you're gonna save a corn farmer, and then you're gonna do some popping and locking for whatever reason. I will say, as a someone who was raised in Nebraska, it did warm my heart to see some corn in a video game. Yes. So, but
I'm looking forward to it. It definitely seems like it's going to be less than great, but it is something that looks like, before all the bad reviews came out, it definitely looked like something that I would be interested in. But I was definitely interested in this because I love Sonic, and
while I haven't played as much of Belly Hatcher and Knights, I've still enjoyed the little bit of those I have played. So I was excited for this, and then it's just there.
Yeah. If you do end up watching some gameplay or playing, watch someone with a PC play it, and
or PS5.
Definitely But I mean, in my opinion, just save your time. Don't even bother. You've read the reviews. Yeah, you know what it's all about.
Maybe if this game, if it's like you're walking by Walmart and it's in their clearance section and they're selling it for like $5, maybe then it'd be worth it. But yeah, I'm definitely not buying this game when it comes out in a couple.
No, we seem to be in agreement there.
Yeah.
So that's.
I feel bad.
It was a big snooze fest.
Yeah, I wanted to like it for Mr. Naka, but it wasn't my cup of tea, and it doesn't seem like it's a lot of people's cup of teas. So, but
yeah,
to each their own. And so then now we can move on into our topic of the week, and unfortunately, it is kind of a downer. So Roger Craig Smith is departing as the official voice of Sonic the Hedgehog in the video games. So he posted via Twitter on January 28th that he is no longer the voice of the Blue Blur, with a sad, broken blue heart emoji. And I was very sad. He says, well, 10 years was an amazing run. Onward to new zones. Much love to the fans who have been so kind. It's been an honor. And then he had a hedgehog emoji and then the picture of the broken blue heart. So, Roger Craig Smith took over as the voice of Sonic back in 2010 when they had the big shakeup. And so now, after 10 years, which is the longest that anyone has voiced the character, we are now moving on. Sega then put out a statement later on saying, Roger Craig Smith's portrayal of Sonic the Hedgehog is one that fans are sure to remember for generations to come. He brought the character to life with a truly authentic way, with Sonic's signature attitude and flair, and will always be thankful for Roger for his contribution to the franchise. So, unfortunately, this comes at probably the worst possible time, because this is right before we're anticipating a bevy of news for his 30th anniversary of the series. But this is big too. Like I mentioned, he was the longest tenured Sonic, beating out Jason Griffith, who voiced him for 7 years if you count Sonic X. And Jaleel White was roughly right around the same time on the TV shows as well. So, what are your guys' thoughts on how Roger did as we kind of reflect on his performance as Sonic?
I thought he did all right. The very first comment on this Twitter post is like, this was the best shape and voice of Sonic. You didn't come even close. Looking forward to the future of my Sonic the Hedgehog. And it did a picture. It did a little GIF of this golden boy here and a Robotnik begging for his life, and it's a bunch of Sonic fans, so some of them are just taking steamy ones on him in the comment section, and a lot of them are praising him. I don't think he was nearly as bad as what a lot of these Sonic fans are saying. Maybe I'm in the minority of maybe he just did a horrible job, and I just don't play enough to recognize good from bad, but I liked his voice.
So the big one I always said is, I think what hurt Roger Craig Smith's portrayal of Sonic is the way they did the writing, because Ryan Drummond's portrayal, they went some of the more of the serious tone, like we saw with the adventure games, and even though Heroes was still pretty lighthearted, like Heroes still at times was like they're trying for a little bit more mature than what we got with Colors, Lost World, and Forces, and then while Jason Griffith struggled early, he came his own at the end, and yeah, he did a good job at the end, but Roger was consistent from the beginning. I think is one things that helped him a lot, at least for me. I go back and forth who I prefer more with him and with Ryan Drummond, but yeah, this has been such a split on the fan base for so long. Like that, you could go find videos on the early days of YouTube of people comparing Jason and Ryan back on the time of 06 being out, and just the vitriol between the fans was just so brutal. Johnny, I know since you're a little more into the Sonic series than Connor as well, what are your thoughts on how Roger did in his games?
Well, I want to say that I love that, and I'm just looking at this now from what Connor said is on Twitter. I'm loving the sass from him because Connor said that there was somebody that said, "This is the best voice and shape of Sonic. You didn't even come close." Looking forward to the future of my Sonic the Hedgehog, and talking about Jason Griffith, who I do agree, in my personal opinion, was the greatest. Not anything bad against Roger Craig Smith, but I just prefer Jason Griffith the most. But Roger Craig Smith's response to this was, "It's quote unquote Sonic fans like you that I'll miss most of all," and he's basically, somebody's trashing on him, and he's like, you know what, he's gonna miss voicing Sonic, but he's not gonna miss people like this. So
Sonic fans can actually be
Sonic fans suck,
really vicious.
Yeah, but he it seems like he's got a good he's confident in what he did, and honestly, he did a really good job. I like to hear, in my head, I like to hear Jason Griffith's version of it, but in recent years, it started to become more of Roger, just when it started to become more, Roger Craig Smith to me, now it looks like he's leaving, so, I think he did really good. I'm more nostalgic with, or I'm less nostalgic with his stuff than I am some of the previous Sonic voice actors, but I am also looking forward to the future and seeing what's going to happen. The best to him. He did really great for the 10 years that he was Sonic. So it's a shame, but what he has voiced is always going to be there. So that's really great.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you already mentioned, Johnny, that for you, Jason is your preferred voice for Sonic. But then what about with Ryan Drummond, the original video game voice of Sonic, and with Roger? Where would you have those two? Which would you have below Jason, since Jason's your favorite?
Yeah, I would say that just under Jason, it would probably be Ryan Drummond and then Roger Craig Smith. And then way, 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 way far beneath that would be Julia White.
What?
I think because of Sonic X, a show that I really liked a lot as a kid, Jason Griffith, that's like why that's in my mind for that voice. But Ryan Drummond voicing the Sonic Adventure games and Sonic Heroes is also what brings him to mind as well. And the two voices are so similar between Jason and Ryan, and I often mix them up, apparently. So there's I will say that one thing that Roger did great is he still sounds like Sonic but he made it his own more so, and I think that than Ryan or Jason did. He was his own cocky version of Sonic that definitely stood out the most.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because, like I said, the biggest knock I had against Jason was in Sonic X and his first couple games. A lot of the 4Kids cast was trying to imitate what Drummond and what some of the other actors had done in the Adventure and Heroes games. It wasn't really until more like Black Knight and Unleashed towards the end of it when he was really kind of coming to his own with how he wanted to portray Sonic, where Ryan set the thing there and Jason continued it, where Roger had his style from the beginning and kind of really kept it from then on. I will say, you mentioned Roger's sass on Twitter. Roger, I think, did the best of portraying sass in Sonic as well, because there was a collection of a bunch of clips from Boom of Roger just talking like some sass, and it was perfect because he nailed that as well. But it's just hard because they're all different eras of the series, and they all did things very well. I think Jason Griffith was a good Sonic. He was not good at Shadow or Jet, personally, I think, but but he did a good job of also portraying. Like, all three of them did a good job of portraying a cool, cocky teenager, like Sonic is. So, moving on to another question there for you. What are your guys' thoughts on big name voice actors or big name characters being replaced by voice actors outside of circumstances like illness, death, or even brief leaves for like having children? Because like I said, this will be the fourth video game Sonic we've had, even though Charles Martinet has voiced Mario since the 90s.
Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I think that, like, I get trying to breathe new life into, a character, but if you feel the need to do away with a new voice every 10 years or less, it just seems like that's not really the road that you should be going down. You should think of something else. You should be more creative, because bringing a new voice into it, when that's a human being and somebody that a lot of fans have gotten personally attached to, it just seems like if that's the best you can do to breathe new life into a character, you're doing something wrong. Like, you should do something totally different. And I will say that Sonic Boom was a good example of how they tried to revamp Sonic. I don't think they did it successfully, but they tried, and that is like Sonic Boom. If it had done better, it could have been the Sonic that we have now, and pretty much going on for the next 10 or so years. But unfortunately, it didn't do well. So they're like, let's maybe try to forget that happened as much as possible. But like, that's one thing that they could try, and I just don't. I just think that when you let go of a voice actor, it just because that you want to try something new, and this is me assuming that's why they did it. I can't imagine he got like fired for a personal reason or anything like that. I assume it's just breathing new life into Sonic, but it just seems like they're not being very creative, and they could keep Roger Craig Smith around and just ask him to go in a different direction instead. But
I bet it's a contract dispute is what caused this. The let go of one where Roger.
It was a what?
Contract dispute. Roger and his agent was probably trying to get more money out of it, because like he had been doing the voice for so long, and with how successful the movie was, there's renewed interest in the series, and like the 30th anniversary is a big thing, so they were probably trying to get it where, since like he's the voice of Sega's main mascot, so like he should be compensated for that. It was probably a disagreement on that one. Or we're going to find some shady thing out in a few months about something bad that happened. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was just some sort of contract dispute where it led to it, because I can't see Sega like wanting to replace a voice again for the third time in the last 15 years after they replaced Ryan with Jason and then Jason with Roger. But it's just crazy because... I've mentioned a couple times too, we've seen this shakeup happen way too many times with the Sonic series, and it's just crazy. Another one, Connor, I know since you're not into the Sonic series as much as Johnny, and especially not as much as me, it's maybe a little harder for you to relate to it as much. But how would you feel as well in some of the things that you like if we did see these actors being replaced?
Well, I think I pretty much agree with Johnny, so I'll piggyback off him, but I'm not going to introduce anything that he hasn't already said better than what I will. It's basically like trying to put lipstick on a pig. Like, you are not helping the franchise at all. And in fact, consistency with a voice actor is something that we can appreciate as fans of the series. I mean, you bring up Mario, that is the best example possible about this whole debacle. It's the writing that really needs work, and I remember seeing some clips on YouTube. For some reason, my YouTube recommendations is recommending like 60-second clips or shorter. That's all throughout my recommendations, and there were some Sonic clips. And the new TV show that's out right now, there's some self-aware jokes about how terrible that the actual Sonic team is at making games. And it seems like they're trying to trim away the fat of the series without actually addressing the issue, which is the diet of the whole thing, to put in like an exercise reference for whatever reason. If anything, this is shooting themselves in the foot. And I understand Sonic fans are divided, but this is not fixing the actual issue.
Yeah, exactly. Because when they did the initial big change back in 2005 after Dean Bristow died, apparently it was already in the works that they were going to do it anyways, and then Dean Bristow dying, that probably gave them an extra reason to kind of push it through quicker. But, we had that, and then the cast got replaced again with the current one in 2010 outside of Mike Pollock's Eggman. And so then the question, too, is, are we seeing another series-wide change, too? Because at the time of recording, we don't know of any other actors changing. We've seen a handful switch over the last few years. Like Tails is on their second voice actress under this current group of people. We've seen people like Troy Baker and Laura Bailey be voices of SBO and Blaze in earlier titles, and then with how busy they've been, or with Laura Bailey having a child, they've stepped away from those roles, and others have replaced him. Travis Willingham actually was not the voice of Knuckles in Team Sonic Racing, so it was a different guy since Laura Bailey did have the baby. So it's one of those that we've seen some shakeup here and there, but we haven't seen a full cast outside of Eggman shakeup since 2010. Do you think we're going to see one again, or would you rather have a full cast shakeup, or would you rather keep it the cast and then change Sonic and maybe another character here or there?
Well, it's hard for me to think that if they're gonna get rid of Sonic, I would imagine they're scraping everybody away, and just starting the slate clean. But that hasn't been confirmed yet, except for Eggman, of course, because for some reason they can keep him around. But
because Mike Pollock is great as Eggman.
Well, he is, but so is Jason Griffith and Ryan Drummond and Roger Craig Smith. So I don't understand what why Mike Pollock is... Well, nothing against him, but I don't understand why particularly him specifically against everybody else. But going forward, I would imagine that they're just going to start over again, because that seems to be the thing that they do, is just start over a lot.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, also, like I mentioned, we've seen Tails has had 7 different actors and actresses. I mean, part of it is because they made the issue early of having small boys doing it, and so then boys got older and voice deepened, so they had to replace them. And so then they went to most boy characters are in cartoons, and then had a female voice him. But they've gone through multiple Tails actors and actresses as well, and like I mentioned, Omega's another one that's had
I was going to say
7 voice actors as well.
For as few games as Omega has been in compared to some of the bigger characters, he's had a new voice actor every game that he's in almost. So that could switch around a lot.
Yeah, because he was John St. John in the original, and then the 4Kids cast, they had a different one, and then it's they've just done so much just to change it up. It's just I get that people are busy, so you can't always get the same ones here and there. But then what's weird is then when they make spin-off games, a lot of times they record little to no new content and they just reuse old stuff. So you go play some of the Mario and Sonic games, and there are Omega clips from John St. John's version of it in Heroes, and then there are versions of the next actor who did it for 06 in Shadow, and and then there's the one who took over with Freerider. So there's 3 different actors doing it for one character. Why are you guys doing this? The Sonic community is just a mess, just like the fan base.
It is.
The fan base is a mess. The direction of the game is a mess. But it's, I guess then, why do we think that the voice cast has been such a revolving door? I get that there are prior commitments. It's hard to stick with a role for a long time, but we've seen other video game series, we've seen other cartoons have the same voice cast for years, even with big names like SpongeBob. Tom Kenny and Clancy Brown are both very busy actors, and they still do SpongeBob 20 years later. So why are we seeing Sonic change so much, where each game it seems like there's a character that has a new voice?
Well, there's a number of things that could be wrong with that, and you listed off some of them. It's contract disputes and characters aging out. A lot of it could be the studio. Maybe they're just real SOBs to their voice actors in the studio too.
Yeah, maybe. But because the other weird one too is this is only an English thing. Outside of a few actors who have died, the voice acting cast for the Japanese versions of the game have been the same since Sonic Adventure. So while we're about to have our 4th English voice actor, it is still the same person that has been doing Sonic since 1998 on, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but they've been doing the voice now since 1998, so way longer than any of these English voice actors have been doing it. It's just so then why are we seeing it switch so much? It's just insane.
Right.
If
Johnny,
it's the same, I'm not sure if it's the same voice that you're looking at, but I just typed in Japanese Sonic actor, and I got Junichi Kanemaru.
Yes.
Is that the... Okay.
Yes.
That was hard for you to pronounce.
I mean, I didn't want to stumble over my words for a sec there, fam. Sorry.
Juni Kanemaru. Juni Kanemaru. But yeah, it is weird that it hasn't changed for Japan, but it changes so much for the English voice actor. I'm not sure why that is. Apparently, it's more of, it's not so much about breathing new life into the series as it is just that's the impression that they get, over here, that's the best that they can do. Or maybe it is, like you said earlier, maybe it is about pay. But I would imagine that, sure, the actors probably get different pay depending on if it's, Roger Craig Smith versus Kanemaru, but I mean, maybe they should get the same pay. Because they're kind of voicing the same exact amount of stuff.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, I know since respect and it's such a big thing, part of Japanese culture, that it's probably just one that even if Sega has wanted to move on in Japan, it just because of how much of respect is baked into the cultural mindset of Japanese culture, that they don't want to move on from that. Where here in America, it's a little whatever. We'll just
that makes sense. Yeah, respect isn't a big thing here in America, so I get that.
But sure, people don't respect my right to not wear a mask. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
That's a big oof right there.
But
I will say that I want to add that one of my favorite lines from Roger Craig Smith as Sonic is, it's from the Sonic Boom TV show. Sonic says, "I'm coming in for a hard landing, Tails," and Tails says, "Roger," and Knuckles is like, "Who's Roger?" And Sonic's like, "Hey, he's talking to me."
That's the thing I love about Boom, is that there's it's not laugh out loud funny moments every single episode, but there are so many just perfectly written parts like that.
Yeah, that's such a
so
good fourth wall break. Who's Roger? Oh, he's talking to me.
All the self-awareness, it's way too perfect. It's a bummer that Boom had to be associated with a bad game, and because I liked the cartoon. It wasn't the best, but yeah, I just don't get why we have to see this happen again. Kind of talking circles with that, but I've just been trying to think of how to wrap my head around this idea from Sega again, and it's just especially right now, I would have probably waited until after the 30th anniversary game came out, and who knows, maybe he did record voice lines for games this year, and he'll kind of get sent off with a big title. But if not, his last game was Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. And
oof.
Here's the other crazy one too. Roger Craig Smith was the voice of Sonic longer than any of the other characters, but I'm pretty sure Jason Griffith still voiced more games than he did, if you don't count games like the Mario and Sonic games and Brawl that reused voice clips. I'm pretty sure Jason Griffith, in only 5 years of doing the games, had more voice credits than 10 years of Roger Craig Smith, because we had more Sonic games back then.
Yeah, that's true. But he did. I mean, Sonic Boom was a long show. I think it only was 2 seasons, but it was quite a few episodes.
Yeah, it was 50 episodes, and most of the episodes were the standard cartoon trope of there are 2 different stories per episode. So really, there's 104 episodes then.
But yeah, I mean, just getting your own show as well as the video games is pretty great, because obviously he wasn't in that live action movie because that was Ben Schwartz, but still, maybe this is the end of Roger Craig Smith, because Ben Schwartz is going to be the new video game Sonic.
Yeah, that actually was the next question I was going to ask is who you guys think what we'll see happen? Will they go with Ben Schwartz, or do you think they'll try to go with someone new, or will they try to bring Jason or Ryan back even?
That would be what do you think they're going to do versus what should they do? And I know Sonic fans are a little bit divided on that, but having some unity with the movies and the video games, I mean, that would be nice. But then again, I'm not I haven't been immersed in the Sonic community for nearly as long, so I'm not sure what the Sonic community wants.
I don't think they're going to have Ben Schwartz be the video game Sonic. Just like Connor said, I think that would be great if he was. And I would like it if he was, but I don't see that happening. I also don't see them bringing old voice actors back to do it. So I would say that it's probably going to be it might be a big name in the voice acting community, but I would say otherwise it's going to be a brand new Sonic voice. But, maybe it'll be somebody on, everybody in Critical Role has played a role in the Sonic franchise at some point, so pretty much everybody. So maybe it'll be one of them. Maybe it'll be Matt Mercer or Liam O'Brien stepping aside from SBO and Infinite to take over Sonic. I don't know. That'd be great.
Yeah, maybe, but I just don't know if they... I guess I haven't dove into as much of their other work, but I just don't know how much they could do as a Sonic, even if it is a different take. But because even with Roger's take being a little different from the other two, they all still feel like Sonic. At least to me, they did. And maybe they could as well. But I just don't know.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the only actor who I can think of, and I'm sure there's more, but the only main actor I can think of right now that hasn't been a Sonic character is Sam Riegel. And I don't know if you know much about who Sam Riegel is, but he always plays like cocky, charismatic characters. That's he's very outgoing and he's very confident. And thinking of it now, Sam Riegel would be a great replacement for this voice of Sonic. So if I can throw my hat in the ring, that would be fantastic.
He was Zor in Sonic Lost World, which I think was one of the Deadly Six. Or Sinister Six, or whatever, the Forgettable Six.
The non-Zavik one.
Zavik and Zaz are the only two that they try to push in.
Which one? What was his one-note personality? Zor's.
That was the emo.
Oh,
that was the emo Zeddy. So
interesting.
So he was, he was a life is meaningless type of one, instead of the Deadly Six are horrible characters, and that I think that's the one thing that will always hurt Roger, is that Roger had probably the worst end of the stick when it came to the writing, because Sega was so afraid of negativity after how 06 was received that they made all these restrictions and rules that stuff happens with like how now Sonic can't have a girlfriend, and how Shadow can't do this and Tails can't do that. Like they have so many restrictions on it, and then Roger has to work with that, and then more dumbed down of saying things like Baldy McNose hair, and just having a lot less of the darker tones that we got in the better and worse games of the series that Ryan and Jason had. And so I think that's the biggest thing that's always going to hurt Roger's legacy, is that he had to take over probably at the worst time in terms of the writing for the character, but it still sucks. So Connor, with you being another outsider looking in, do you have any names you'd like to throw in the ring of a thing, or do you see Ben Schwartz maybe take over?
Ben Schwartz, that's a possibility, and I think it would be fair to bring him up. Now, realistically, I don't know. I would doubt it, but you just know that with the anniversary coming up, if they announced an older character, like if they said Ryan Drummond, everyone would immediately be jumping on their dick and being like, "Oh, it's going to be another Sonic Adventure. It's going to be Sonic Adventure remaster or a remake or something like that." We would know precisely what would be coming at us if they announced someone like him. But do you think, since you're pretty into it, do you think realistically they could bring back an older character, and do you think they would do that, or do you think that they would be above that, because it could potentially be seen as a slap in the face?
Dude, I don't know what
to
Sega
Roger.
would do, honestly. Sega is so weird. I don't think they should bring Ryan Drummond back, because Ryan, I don't think, can do the voice well as much anymore. Jason probably could still do it. I just don't know if the pride of that
some number of years now.
But the pride of that too would also just be like, I got fired from this job and now they want me back. It's like do I want to go back? I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they do a Ben Schwartz just for a couple games as like for the 30th anniversary. Like, hey, look, like we're gonna celebrate it with this, and maybe a tie-in with the sequel, and then move on to a new one, or they might just pick someone new and find another like mid-level video game actor who some people will know, but they're not super big, and then because they're voicing Sonic, then they become a bigger name. Because like Roger Craig Smith was like a lot of the actors in this current cast was known for his different stuff. Like he's Chris in Resident Evil, and he was Ezio in Assassin's Creed. But like Sonic was like one of the real big breakout roles because like it's Sonic. Because in a lot of his games before that, it was more adaptations of either different public like movies or TV shows, and he was doing some of those characters for the English dub that they didn't get the rights to, or like Enemy Soldier number 6. Besides doing Chris, and then he was Ezio in Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, but then in 2010 he got Sonic, and while he still did some occasional like one-off characters here and there, most of his voice acting was still just Sonic. But fun fact, he also was unmasked Kylo Ren in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Whoa. You can, if you want to hear Sonic as Kylo Ren, then go play that clip. So
now that's a crossover we need, though.
Exactly. But yeah, I as one who has enjoyed it, I wish Roger the best as he moves on into his new adventures. I mean, luckily, with all the different characters he has been over the years, he has a lot of chops that he can do really whatever he wants, and I'm sure he's going to find some great stuff there. But what a weird time to be a Sonic fan again, because I know nothing what's coming, and now it just threw another wrench into things. But I mean, I didn't have much expectations for the 30th anniversary title, but now with a voice actor change as well, I don't know. They might have even gone down a little more just because I just don't trust Sonic Team anymore.
Yeah, after last year, I mean, I know it was hard for everybody, but it sucked because I know we were supposed to get like monthly updates all year last year from in various whatever those updates were supposed to be, but we only got a few, and so I'm hoping that maybe this year we'll get more stuff from the new voice actor, or more info on the game, because the pandemic doesn't seem to be slowing down. So hopefully, despite sorry, my cat is all over the mic.
Shiro was like, I would like to be on the podcast too, please.
He's rubbing his asshole on the mic. So.
I saw that too.
Yeah,
I also heard it.
Yeah, there was a nice cat butthole rub. They'll be on there.
Yeah.
Cat butt.
So I'm hoping that this year, despite all the stuff that didn't end up going through and revealed last year, I'm hoping that with the time that they've had, now is the time to reveal more information about the next Sonic game, about maybe a new Sonic series, or who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah. Just a weird time. But I think with that, we can send off Roger, and then we can move on into recommendations. So Connor, it was your turn last week. So the day we were recording was when we got the news that Larry King had passed away, and so maybe it was the day after. I can't remember exactly, but Larry King had just died when we were recording last week's episode, and so you wanted to give us a collection of some of his best interviews, a mix of some serious and some comedy ones over the years. Just as a way to reflect on him and to remind us, just like how many big things that he did. So to recap for those who maybe didn't listen or forgot, it was Donald and Melania Trump's newlywed interview from 2005.
Oof.
The full interview with Lady Gaga from 2010. The interview with Mike Tyson in prison. The interview with John David Chapman, the guy who killed John Lennon. Trump's 1987 interview where he said he doesn't want to be president, and Jerry Seinfeld ripping Larry King about a show being canceled, with with the picking one of the Lady Gaga or Mike Tyson, and then also Johnny added to watch the one of what's his name from Community, the I'm
Danny
on
Pudi.
Yeah.
That one.
So Connor, first more. I mean, obviously, like because of how much Larry King was important, but like, what made you pick these ones over some of his other iconic interviews?
It was really, really hard for me to choose because there are some really, really great interviews I left out, like him and Snoop Dogg when they go riding in Snoop's car. These are one, like with the Donald and Melania Trump and then the Donald Trump 1987 one, what with the new administration coming in, I thought it was still kind of, even though the interviews are from years ago, the content, the subject matter and all that was still relevant to the conversation, the overall conversation of everything. Some of them just for their shortness and their digestibility, others just because I really, really wanted to see your reactions, particularly with the gentleman who killed John Lennon. I really wanted to see your guys' take on that, because even though you guys might not be the biggest Beatles fans in the world, like just interviewing someone who was so, what's the word? Not casual, but so well spoken and so willing to talk about what went on, give a play-by-play of the murder. I thought like just the way that Mark David Chapman was able to communicate like the play-by-play with that, I just thought that was fascinating. And again, it's really hard for me to describe why I would choose it, but like the Mike Tyson thing, I thought that was just you don't have to be a sports fan to find the subject matter fascinating or anything like that. And then Lady Gaga, just because it was funny, and same with Jerry Seinfeld. But I suppose we could just go through these real quick, one by one. You guys don't have to go too deep into your reviews on these or anything like that. But like the Donald Melania Trump and the 1987 Donald Trump interview, what did you guys think? Do you guys have any thoughts on it?
I just love how Trump just anytime you interview Trump, you just get so many different things, and he'll say one thing, and then a few years later he'll say the opposite of things, and it's just always fun to see just how he has always changed things, but he's been the same person for years. And
the consistency in his inconsistency.
Exactly, because you get that. Like, I mean, like there's the joke that there was always a tweet with his now suspended Twitter that he would do something that he would rip a different president for in the past, or just all the time he goes back on his word, and he would always talk about how he was a man of his word, and just the whole story about who was this lady on the left, and it was some sort of other like BS story with it, and Trump has been the same person for years.
My favorite part of the Donald and Melania Trump interview was that Larry King kept asking both of them questions. He would ask Donald a question, he would ask Melania a question, and Donald was they're so in love that Donald was able to answer questions for both of them. So even if a question was aimed at Melania, Donald had the answer, and he was happy to give it.
I loved how so there's that, like Donald just loves speaking for everyone.
Scream controlling whatsoever. I wasn't getting controlling vibes at all.
What was really funny in that particular interview, they were talking about how they both give each other space all the time, and they both were like, oh yeah, no, he'll come back, because Donald he works a lot. He's known for being a worker bee. He works all the time, and people at that level usually work, if they work 55 hours a week, it's a light week. And so Melania was saying, oh yeah, when he comes home from work, I'll give him his space. I won't interrupt him or anything like that. I won't bore him with this, that, or the other thing. And I'm like, wow, you guys are so close, aren't you? This is true love. And I'm not going to say they were in it for the money out loud.
Well, I love that they were like, oh, what about the wedding ring? And Larry, I think Larry asked Melania, oh, did you design it? And Donald was like, oh no, I designed it for her. We have the same taste. We have the same, it's crazy. We have the exact same taste. And I'm like, I don't know if you've ever looked at Donald Trump and Melania Trump, but there's something that screams not the same taste.
Not at all. She's a model, Donald. Like, she has different taste than you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, Donald, you picked out her wedding ring, and like, which I do believe he picked it out, but I do not believe that she would have, like, that's exactly what she wanted, and that they had the exact same taste. There was something about
she liked it because he gave it to her, not
exactly.
because it was the right, like, it
he's
was her
rich and
taste.
she's pretty. That's what they have going for each other.
Yeah, so like for me and Emily, like Em and I went to Shane Company in Woodbury, and so we went there a couple of times, and then at some point there was the right ring. She's like, I want that one. I wrote it down on my phone, on my notes, then bought it when I had the money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I let her pick out her wedding ring.
You don't have to have the same tastes. You don't have to lie about having the same tastes.
Exactly.
If you just ask her what she wants.
Exactly.
You don't have to be like, hey, Emily, I'm really rich, so you are going to agree with whatever I give you.
Don't forget too, they never even argued.
Yeah, not even once. Not a single argument.
It's really easy to not argue when you are never speaking with each other at any point at all, ever.
I guess we shouldn't bash on them so much and actually talk about Larry King, but
yeah. So I mean, we spent enough time on that one. Did you guys watch between the Mike Tyson and Lady Gaga ones? Did you guys watch both parts or just one part of each?
I watched both.
Cool.
I thought that I didn't know much about the background with Mike Tyson, so I can't go too far in depth with that. I did like the conversation that they had, and that was the first one that I watched, and so it really showed to me that Larry King was, as iconic as you know him to be. But the Lady Gaga one, since I'm not a huge Lady Gaga fan, but at least I know more about her than I do Mike Tyson, so listening to that interview is a little more interesting, because I did learn some more about her that I didn't know before. So that was really interesting, and also it showed who Larry King is, because Lady Gaga is so eccentric and odd that you really get to know that Larry King is very I don't know how to put it, but he's very like he's very to the point in a way that I don't see very often. It's very like if you could say, oh, I cured cancer, and he'd be like, okay, all right, and then where are you from again? I'm like he's not there. He's doing such a good job, and I mean he's like 2,000 years old. Is that right? Like he's what 2100?
Yeah. No. He's
before he died.
He's old. Yeah. He witnessed the birth of Christ and all that.
Yeah. So having all that time to be a good journalist, you really stop being surprised by stuff, and he's just there for the information. He's not like you could like I said, you could say you cured cancer, or you're you are Jesus Christ, and he would just be like wanting more information. He wouldn't be surprised by it. He's just like, okay, great, that's super cool. Now tell me more about yourself.
He's famous for asking precise, to the point questions, and he asks really, really tough questions that would never ever be asked. I didn't know if this recording was on the internet or not, because I read about it in a book. Joe DiMaggio is considered one of the greatest baseball players of all time. He's in the Hall of Fame. He played for the Yankees back in the 40s, I think, 40s or 50s or something. I think it was the 50s, and he has the record for number of games in a row where you get a hit. And his son, Joseph Paul DiMaggio II or whatever, he on an interview with Larry King, he was able to get Joe DiMaggio's son to say, I don't really know if I love my dad. And it was kind of known in the industry that Joe DiMaggio and his son were not close, but nobody wanted to talk about that. It would have been a rumor floating around, and then Larry King just asked it. He had waited a few minutes into the interview for him to get comfortable, and then he was like, "Do you love your father?" And Joe was like, "I love what he's done. Do you love your father?" I don't know him. I don't really know him at all. And that was huge. And that's one of the reasons I really like his interview style, because it's not, they don't have a conversation like a full minute and a half to get into a question to build up the intention and the direction where you want the question to go. He just asks the question bluntly, and that's what I really appreciate.
Well, it just like you said, there's very little easing into it. It's like he could just, at the drop of a hat, just like ask you the burning question. I mean, I want to make a joke, but though he has passed and he's been a great guy, but I wonder if the need to get to the information is because he doesn't know how much time he has left. So
I love it.
True.
I love
he
that.
was older than dirt. He was wanting to get the information because he thought well long ago that his time was already coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like with the Mike Tyson in prison interview. I think it's in the first clip. It's been a while since I've seen it. I think it's in the first clip. Somewhere in that interview, he's talking about like what Mike Tyson actually thinks of the prison system and if it's actually meant to reform people. And this was I think Mike Tyson was 25 or 26 years old. It was a while ago, and so they're asking the burning question: if prison is designed if it does what it was originally designed to do. And Mike Tyson was like, no, I do not think so at all. I think it actually makes people worse. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. Like, get to the nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because he found a way that he could ask you the questions that, like you said, like the blunt, hard-hitting questions, and then getting the good answers out of them. We'll talk about it too, but like you mentioned with his interview with Mark David Chapman about the murder of Lennon, of John Lennon. Like, that's another one of those where like it just shows just how good he was at his job, because he was able to get things out of people that whether it's talking about how maybe they didn't love their dad, or getting a 20 years later a play-by-play recap of an important death, or even the whole idea of like the prison system. And like Mike Tyson is not the only person who has talked about how the prison system is not always the best. And so it's all the things that he was able to do with all the different types of people. It just shows like how great he was at his job.
I did want to ask you guys what you thought of the Mark David Chapman interview.
Yeah, so I had seen this before too as well, but it was crazy just to watch it again. It's just insane. I think the biggest one that surprised people was like the whole idea in our mind that we always get fed of like murderers and people all these crazy, they're inhuman. Like we dehumanize them, and then Chapman like was just a well-spoken man who read a book and things and kind of went down the deep end. But just the way he was able to recap the whole night in a way that, like you mentioned, it was like we were listening to a play-by-play of how everything happened. And there'd be times where King would just ask just quick questions like, how long have you served now? When are you eligible for parole? And stuff like that. He would just ask them just one after another, just quickly. You'd ask him a question that would be one sentence, and then Chapman would go on for 30, 45 seconds, a minute long, and then he'd ask another just quick question, just like bam, to the point.
Yeah, he was doing just enough to add to the overall picture, the overall scene of he was asking the person to set the scene for us, but never doing that on his own, because he didn't like having a lot of notes. He would always have one piece of paper and whatever's on the front of it, and if it was anything more than that, he would just come up with the question on his own, because he hated having too much information. Because then all of a sudden he's doing what I think a lot of night show hosts do right now, and that's basically setting the scene for the interviewer, which is not what you want. That doesn't make for a very interesting guest. And it injects too much of the interviewer to the story. And so I like that it's really quick. It's like, where were you? Had you seen him before? What's it like to kill someone? Stuff like that. Really, really big questions. Johnny, you are not the biggest Beatles fan in the world. Did you know anything about the John Lennon murder before going into this?
No, I didn't know who he was. Not John Lennon, the murderer. But no, I didn't know him by name. But he talked about murder as if he was going to get a cup of coffee. Like he
right.
he was so casual about it, and I guess, I mean, that kind of makes sense because if you can do something like this and it's not, it seems more planned than some murders might be. If it's something that's planned like this, there's got to be, you've got to have some level of being casual that, like, similar to what he has. What was his name?
Mark David Chapman.
Yeah, Mark David Chapman. Yeah, he it was eerie how comfortable he was talking about it, but yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense. But that's so great that, like, Larry King has such a resume that he can talk to future presidents, he can talk to pop stars, he can talk to famous convicts, and obviously Mike Tyson was known for more than that, but in the time, convict. Yeah. And he can also talk to murderers. So that resume that Larry King has accrued over the hundreds, if not thousands, of years he's been alive is wonderful.
Yeah. I'll add one more thing to the Mark David Chapman thing, and then we can talk about the 59-second clip of Larry King, and then we can just move on to the next thing. Normally with murderers, you get people that are like these egomaniacal psychopaths that are doing everything they can to protect their ego and to protect their image, and so they'll always
you talk to him a lot, do you?
I watch a lot of Netflix, and they're doing everything to make them look like a hero, make it like they're trying to purge the earth and stuff like that. And what I liked about Mark David Chapman is I didn't get a sense of that. I I killed someone, and this is exactly what happened, how it happened. And I think he had said why he killed is like, if I kill him, somehow I'll gain his fame or something like that. And so, yeah, it was. I just, that's why I like going back to that interview every now and then. So with the Jerry Seinfeld, I only threw it in because it's funny, but it is iconic. So have you guys seen that before? I'm sure you have. It's very popular.
Yes, it is. It is such a funny one, and it's. I mean, this thing, like, he knew how to ask the right questions, but sometimes it pushed people the wrong way, and this was one that it pushed Jerry the wrong way a little bit. He just got a little angry there, and it just was so funny just because he had his usual setup where he was there on his desk, had his microphone there, and then he just asked the question, and then you can just see it in Jerry's face too, just like the anger each time he asked him, just like,
how dare you?
There were some Larry King fans that were really upset on Jerry's Twitter post about his little tribute to Larry on his death, and it was just like, just so you guys know, it was all a joke. Larry was in on it, and everyone was, well, not everyone, but there was a good amount of people that were just like really upset with, like, oh, I'm sure it was. I'm sure you're just saying this to cover for your actual anger and all that. And I say, oh my god, people, but it was really funny, like, because he's the comedian, so he just took it and ran. So it's a lot that I recommend. It's a little bit all over the place, but thank you guys for watching that. He was a big deal to me with being in radio, and so I'm just glad that I was able to take you on that journey a little bit. And I did have something else planned at the time, but I decided to go with that. So I guess I'll ask for the overall, not just individually, but overall your rating, and then we can move on to Luke.
So this was a good one. Like we mentioned, Larry King is an icon for us media people. I would definitely give it a 9 out of 10. I'm on DuckTales Larry.
That's another good clip everyone should watch. I think, Johnny, you had mentioned that last week too. It's a good one.
And I would give this I would also give this 9 out of 10 centuries of work in the field of journalism.
Yeah, I think like 50,000 interviews or something like that.
Jesus.
Been around for a while.
Like I mentioned
he's got the time, so.
Like I mentioned last week, he was still working on stuff like up until his like death, basically, because he had COVID and had complications from that. But like he was obviously his production had gone down over his last couple of years, but he was still doing stuff in 2021, and he died in 2021. Like,
yeah.
Yes.
He was still working. Like he worked himself, not to death basically, but like he definitely continued to work even as he was, he was 87 when he died. So.
And I have made a lot of jokes about it, but he was a really, he is an icon. He is very big, and I don't think he even realizes. Maybe he does realize it because he thinks that private jets are luxuries, but maybe he does realize how big he is. But at the same time, there's something about him that's just very humble and professional. And the world lost a really great journalist from this.
I think Larry King, I remember an old 60 Minutes thing, like he said he started to realize his impact when Nelson Mandela requested to be on his show, and he didn't have to reach out he didn't have to request Nelson, and Nelson requested him, and immediately when OJ was acquitted, he requested to go on Larry King, and so that around that time he started to realize that there was something to this interview thing. Yeah, so thank you guys for doing that. I really do appreciate it. So, Luke, that means it is your turn to recommend some juicy goodness. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so I am going to do an EP. It is only 4 songs. I will have to send you the links of it then, Johnny, since you don't have Spotify. But it is the project Heart of Gold by the singer from Being as an Ocean. And so this is actually it's pretty funny how I found it. I was a few weeks ago. I was listening to a different artist that I like's side project, Roy Rodriguez from Dayseeker. His side project with one of the other Dayseeker members, Hurtwave, which is kind of a mix of some pop with some synthwave and all that. And so I was enjoying it, and I put on the Spotify like radio, so it would play Hurtwave and then similar artists to it, and it played Heart of Gold, which is the side project from Michael from Being as an Ocean, and I was instantly when that song was playing, I was like, "This is awesome! What is this?" And then I went and looked it up, and I found out that it was the singer from Being as an Ocean, and then it's been one of my most played things on Spotify for the last couple weeks. I can actually pull it up and tell you how many times I've listened to one of these 4 tracks on Last FM. Let's see. So I'm recommending their EP Gold. So it's only 4 tracks: Midnight in Miami, Over Yourself, Left Town, and See Through. And so it is, like I said, 4 tracks. It only takes about 15 minutes to get through. But just this, just in the last couple weeks, I have listened to his tracks 37 times. It's been a mix of stuff, but
is that literal, or were you like
no, literally? I
exaggerating to make a joke.
I have
or to
my
make a point?
I have my Spotify linked to Last.fm, and so it keeps track of all my track plays, so I can go and see. So yeah, I've listened to Over Yourself 11 times already, and I just started listening to him like 2 weeks ago. So. That is my recommendation. They are some nice bops, a nice mix of some. It sounds like very much like an 80s synth pop type of mix with some more modern pop as well. It's pretty fantastic stuff. So I hope you guys like it. You can find it on Spotify and on Apple Music. I will find links to all the songs individually then, Johnny, for you for YouTube, since you are not a cool kid like Connor and I have.
True.
I remember what was the last album that you recommended for us?
Holding Absence?
Yes, yeah, that one was actually every single album you've recommended was really great. So I imagine I'm gonna like this quite. I'm actually really looking forward to this.
Same record label actually, and so I have linked on Sharp Tone. They have the EP plus a unplugged version. of one of the tracks as well. So there are YouTube links to all of it. A couple of them are music videos, and then I think one of them is just like the audio. So you can listen to that, and then we can talk about that not next week, but on episode 51, because next week is our very special episode 50. So, which also, if people are very good at figuring out dates, episode 50 also will coincide with the anniversary of our first episode posting. Not exactly the year to the date, but episode 50 will be posting on the 10th, where episode 0 and episode 1 posted on February 9th, 2020. So, guys, we've been doing this for almost a year now. So by the time episode 50 will be out next, after this one, we'll be doing it for a year. So we have a lot of fun things planned for that. So be sure to listen to that one. Honestly, we've been planning episode 50 since episode 6.
Yeah, it's
like no joke. We've literally had the idea of some of the stuff we're doing this next episode last year. So
it's going to be something a little different and weird and fun and just kind of silly, honestly. So
exactly, but it definitely is something to do to celebrate it. So be sure to look out that for next week as well. But we will go over the Heart of Gold EP then in episode 51 to not distract from my wonderful recommendation for the rest of the stuff we have for episode 50. But now we can wrap it up, though. So that means we can talk about our sponsors and give our shout-outs. So this podcast is sponsored by Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast. Visit anchor.fm to start your own. This podcast is also sponsored by ByLightFixtures.com. Visit ByLightFixtures.com for a trusted source of quality lighting products for your business or home. And as always, big thank you to Tom Taylor of Tailored Beats for the intro and outro of this podcast. You can follow him on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/tailoredproductions for more beats like this. Also, don't forget about our social medias, Twitter and Facebook, and Twitch. I actually was on Call of Duty this past week playing some zombies, and I will be doing some more Twitch streams again as I try to figure out which day of the week will be best for me to get back on that Twitch grind. So watch me continue to push for dark matter camo on zombies. It's a grind. And then again, too, we want to give a quick shout out to Hollie, our good friend Hollie, with her crayon shop on Etsy. That's Hollie Pop Crayon Shop with HOLLIE for Hollie Pop Crayon Shop. So if you want to get some nice custom crayons, do that as well. And I mentioned it last week, mentioned again, we definitely will have to have her on at some point as well in the near future, because on top of her fun crayon stuff, she is also a very big nerd as well. So she would fit right in with this show. So we will see you guys next week in our very, very special episode 50. And thank you for sticking with us for this time.